be the bait because they have broken the backs of Team Rocket, bleeding house.
Vitality, 4 members alive. They got the 2 carries, Minitroupax.
The base wide open. They've got their eyes set on the prize. They're feeling good. They're cheering on the stage. And 3 rookies, the line of a Vitality, prove themselves worthy of the top 4.
Just a few weeks ago, there were 10 teams vying for the title. Now, only 4 remain.
Every single game we have had so far was just practice.
You can never really count me out, and I'm always going to be there at the top.
What would actually mean something is that we get to the final and win it.
Of those teams, 2 are Fnatic and G2 Esports. Between them, they hold all but 1 European LCS championship. I think being the best is just great, but I never experienced it. My legacy is just being third, always, so I want to change it.
We didn't really showcase what we could do. I'm eager to play against G2 again for the semi-finals rematch.
My legacy so far hasn't really been what I wanted it to be. I'm yet to reach certain grounds that others haven't.
Beating Fnatic will mean that we'll actually win the European LCS.
My eyes are on far more than ELCS, but my first prize is ELCS. ELCS is where my heart is.
When I see my team lifting trophy, it just feels 1,000 times better than when I was playing myself.
I would like to get back to winning Europe, because I think if you cannot win Europe, then it's hard to see yourself winning other trophies as well.
This week, 2 teams will earn the honor of fighting for the crown, while the others will receive VIP seats to watch from the sidelines. Because fame is fleeting, but legacy lasts forever.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the LCS studio in Berlin, Germany, home to tonight's semi-final and the clash between Fnatic and Team Vitality. I'm Evie Sjokz supporter, joined here by Maurice Amazing Stukenschneider and Andrew Vedius. And guys, I gotta say, we had a hype semi-final yesterday, but today there is just something in the air for Fnatic versus Vitality.
Yeah, how can you not be hyped for these 2 teams? You have the rookies of Vitality versus the veteran organization of Fnatic. It's gonna be hype.
It's gonna be explosive. Yesterday, pretty explosive as well. We saw our first semi-final with the reigning champions G2 Esports taking on Splice. 4 games in the end, and Maurice, to me, G2 just seemed to get better and better as the games progressed.
Yeah, if we look at the regular season, you expect the series to go a lot closer and actually go to 5 games, but G2 actually stepped up their play in general. As a team, they looked a lot more cohesive, and I have to give props to Sion because this guy went bananas yesterday and actually dominated the playing field, because every time he was called upon, his Jhin basically hit every spell and he was able to make the clutch play, which is something we haven't seen in the regular season. So that's so important for G2 to have.
It was great to see both him and the other carry, Wonder, being so impactful in this game. I loved how impactful both of them were able to contribute to the success of G2 in their semi-final yesterday, and it allowed Perkz to take a bit of a back seat. He didn't have to step up to the playing field because of how well his whole team was playing.
And I think that must have been a bit comfortable for Perkz, knowing that this guy here, Yarnan, stepped up. He could count on Wonder, he could count on his entire team, and he didn't have to be the sole carry, which bodes really well for G2 going into the final. So can we go as far as to say that G2 is the favorites going into that final, no matter who they're up against?
I feel like that given their current form, they're looking extremely strong. So if the other teams in today's semi cannot make the same kind of growth that G2 have shown, I feel like they will be the final and look to take their 5th title.
Well, we will see who joins them today. It is all about Vitality and Fnatic in their highly anticipated semi-final. 2 teams with everything to gain and also everything to lose after today. And I want to start with with Team Vitality. These exciting rookies, they took the league by storm.
They did. Expectations coming into the split were that they'd be kind of a middle-of-the-pack team, but they destroyed everyone. Largely off the back of this man in the middle lane, Jiizuké. They went on a 7-1 winning streak. And in the mid-season, they struggled a little bit, but they found some consistency at the very end and were even fighting for a top spot in Europe. Unfortunately, they finished 4th, where they ended up meeting Sjokz in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, and the quarterfinals didn't really show their their potential, I think, but they still managed to pull out basically what they have shown throughout the regular season, where they get the early leads, they get the early plays, where it's basically one play winning the game for them. Just Nash setups were kind of iffy to a certain extent, and I think if they improve on that, they definitely have a better shot today.
Well, we'll see for the side of Vitality. Indeed, those Barons were a pain point, as they have been throughout the split. And also talking to Gilius afterwards in the post-game lobby, he said, well, I don't really think we proved people wrong. I don't really think we made a statement, but they'll have worked hard on those mistakes and have come into the semifinal absolutely hot and ready to take on Fnatic, because that is a formidable opponent. Currently in Europe, we are in the G2 era, but some years ago, we were in the Fnatic era. They dominated everything in the EU LCS, and Vedius is going to remind us just how they did it.
Yes, exactly that, Sjokz. Season 1 world champions, Fnatic. They have been in the European LCS from the very beginning. Their legacy took off in the 2013 league final versus Gambit Gaming. Two big fan favorites. Everyone's excited to see who would be the first king of Europe, and it ended up being Fnatic. Names like Xpeke, Cyanide, Soaz led the team to a commanding victory in what was a tense nail-biter of a 5v5 that so many fans remember to this day. Fnatic's legacy only continued from there when Rekkles joined Fnatic alongside Yellowstar in 2014. A lot of hype was surrounding the young individual, as he had already shown some fantastic performances prior. In his debut, he gets a double kill against the staple bot lane of Gambit and continues his success forward. This guy has continued to make a name for himself all the way up until the 2015 season, where Fnatic went up against Origin in one of the best European finals of all time. Teams facing up against old carries, Soaz and Peke versus up their old organization. The whole thing had everything that you could have wanted. It all came down to a clutch anti-ultimate that landed onto Xpeke, allowing Fnatic to secure that final win and end what was a fantastic European final. You know, Maurice, this legacy is so old that you even played Fnatic, you've played against Fnatic. You must know so much about this Fnatic team.
Kinda do. I remember that final pretty well.
And we also Rekkles got a pentakill on Tersana, I believe, in that final. And this is what Rekkles has talked about so much. And with the team of Fnatic, they want to get back on that stage. They want to have a chance to lift that trophy again. And this is why the story of today is so incredibly interesting to me, because it's the rookies on the one hand for who it would be huge to win that trophy, and on the other hand, it is Fnatic really wanting to step up to the plate. And a couple of players that absolutely want it and will want to make it happen today are in the bottom lane, Rekkles and Minitroupax. I want to start there for this matchup specifically, because I think those two really embody what it's all about. This legacy player versus the young upstart rookie.
And we have to look at Minitroupax, because coming into the regular split, everyone had their eyes on players like Upset. Sheriff was another one that really came into fruition as well, but he was kind of brushed aside. He was someone that really didn't catch the eyes of many, yet he is the one in the semi-final. He is the one with the confidence looking to bring it to the staple AD carry of Rekkles, who, to be honest, has been performing out of his mind over the last few weeks.
Rekkles has been at the core of the Fnatic success, but so has Caps in the mid lane. And if we look at his competitor in this game specifically, Jiizuké, we just get excited just thinking about the matchup, or I do at least. Jiizuké, the Italian stallion amazing, has been a staple to Vitality success.
Yeah, I think both Caps and Jiizuké had a really similar role in the beginning of the split, where they were the main carries for their teams. And I think nowadays, like, obviously Jiizuké still has that title for the team. Caps kind of gave it to Rekkles. But this matchup is still really interesting, because Jiizuké was in a really similar spot to Caps last year, where Caps had to face the best mid lane in EU in Perks, and now Jiizuké has to face the best mid lane in EU in Caps.
We'll see who can keep their cool.
And it's really exciting as well, because we've heard from players like Perks that Caps has been underperforming, but I don't believe that for a second.
We haven't seen that.
I feel like this guy is still the top performer in Europe, and I cannot wait for these two titans to clash here.
So exciting matchups across the board. We do have to talk about one more player, a huge wild card, Bwipo. He is in the top lane. Soaz is out due to a hand injury. Now, this is almost impossible to predict what will happen, but first let's kind of paint a picture of what Soaz brought to the team and what Bwipo can bring to the team.
I mean, we obviously have to highlight the amount of veteran leadership that a player like Sjokz can bring to the team and the amount of versatility. He has played through so many metas, so he can basically play every champion that he wants at any given time. And he can also make those in-the-moment decisive calls, which is something that you only gain by experience. And I think that's what they're going to be lacking now with him out.
Well, a good point. It would be the most experienced veteran player in the LCS ever versus someone who's played 2 games on stage.
Yeah. The bright side for this is Bwipo seems very solid mechanically. I feel like that when Fnatic play through him, he's shown that he can act as a carry if he needs to. And I feel like there's still a lot of potential here. The biggest concern I have is should they fall behind early, they lose that voice and that what Sjokz was. And can Bwipo maintain his confidence given the legacy of Fnatic is on his shoulders right now, considering they have not been to a final since 2015.
I hope he doesn't hear you say that. It would make him even more nervous. The legacy of Fnatic on the shoulders of Bwipo. All that information, all these hype matchups, a substitution in the top lane, the Baron throws possibly. I know where you guys have hedged your bets. I know that you are going all in on Vitality, Maurice. Why do you think they will be the winners today?
I do think that that Sjokz being out is actually really, really tough for Fnatic because I think Bwipo is going to come in with a...
I got attacked by a fly, sorry. That was completely out of left field.
Was that a beat?
No, we're good. Right, tell me about Vitality. Why are they going to make it?
They're going to make it because I do think that they're going to be able to abuse Bwipo's early game because I don't think he's going to get the kind of help that he got earlier in the season and they will kind of read it. So I think Vitality is going to play around that. And I do think that the mid lane matchup and the mid lane jungle duo is actually going to be really decisive for Vitality, because so far Caps has not responded well to any kind of mid pressure, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Well, personally, I think Fnatic are going to come at Vitality like that fly just came at me. Full on, all out aggression. I'm expecting that Fnatic know exactly how Vitality want to play. They're going to deny strong laners from Vitality. They're not going to give them the early game that they seem to really rely on in order to take games.
But 3-0,
3-0 is what I expect from Fnatic.
So what will it come down to? Who's the player that's going to make that happen?
I feel like it's Caps in the mid lane. I feel like he's going to consistently get an advantage over his opposition. I think the mid-jungle duo is going to be stronger than Gilius and Jiizuké, and I think it will be Fnatic.
You know what? I have to respect you for putting Vitality on top there, and you for making a 3-0 prediction for Fnatic. That's what we'd like to see in the battle for the superior analyst, but now it has come down to this. Who will join G2 in the finals, Fnatic or Vitality? We'll find out in just a second, but first, Jiizuké is going to tell us what it means to be on the road to Copenhagen.
I just love this game, and my dream came true when I came to LCS, so I'm just having so much fun playing every game, and playing a best of 5 is the most fun thing I ever did. Like, I can't imagine playing a best of 5 in Copenhagen. What the I will have so much fun. My first dream was going LCS, now my second dream is happening. Future is exciting, man.
It's even more exciting watching the Italian stallion rookie of the split, Jiizuké, take to the stage. Hello, everybody. I'm Trevor Quickshot Henry, joined at the desk by my main man, Martin Deficio Lunga. It's semifinals, baby.
I am very excited. I also think there's a crazy tension backstage when I walk by the teams, especially Vitality guys. Normally they laugh a little bit before the games, they joke with each other.
Not today.
Serious.
There's so much on the line,
It's
Deficio.
insane.
Starting with Vitality, they are on the blue side of the rift. Fnatic picked red side, so that means Cabochard, Gilius, Jiizuké, Minitroupax, and Jactroll will be starting on the blue side. First pick, first ban. We'll see what they do.
And that's important to note because Vitality have only won 1 game on blue side so far in this split. They always won red side, but because of Fnatic's higher seed and them having side selection first, they can get red side multiple times.
And of course, this could be important because, of course, Fnatic have that all-important substitution. The most veteran player in all of the EU LCS, Sjokz, will not be playing due to that hand injury. And Bwipo will be starting the top lane with Broxah, Caps, Rekkles, and Hylissang to round out the draft. And the counter pick options are countless when you look at this team.
Yeah, there's so many different options around, especially the mid lane. Caps is the man who plays basically everything in solo queue and can try and bring that onto the stage. But of course, up in the top lane, that is the big talking point. Losing Sjokz hurts them so much in so many ways.
Yes.
However, we have to give them credit for bringing in a sub early. Give that man a couple of games on stage, and they've been scrimming with him as well for quite a while. So we did have Rekkles talk about how he's ready. He's good at communicating. He's good at playing his individual role. They feel like it's going to be fine with him in the top lane.
Well, we'll see what level of performance he brings to the table. Going up against Cabochard, his opposite number. Nobody will be surprised to see Rise banned away from Jiizuké. He had those highlight reel plays the beginning of the splits. And of course, Tristana's Xayah taken away from Rekkles already.
Okay, so the strategy from Vitality very clearly seems to be ban out Rekkles. Fnatic on their side, they realized, okay, remove the Caitlyn, which was a potential first pick for Team Vitality. A lot of AD carries gone. I will mention that both these guys, Rekkles and Minitroupax, are okay playing the second tier AD carries. We've seen a lot of Sivir from Rekkles specifically. We've seen the Jinx from Minitroupax, and the Ashe could be a big pick.
And don't forget, Minitroupax played that Ziggs tower pushing
He did
ADC.
play that.
That's not even second tier, that's maybe 7th tier. But
first pick Trundle, baby.
Look, insta-ban. Swain is off the table. I'm happy to see that one going. First pick Trundle. Where does Fnatic go from there?
Let's see on Fnatic side. Sion is available, was one of the champions they valued getting. First time we saw Bwipo play on stage, and they played around his lane in the early game. And I think Sion is a champion you want to take away from Cabochard, because he's actually really good at using it to camp the mid lane, which of course is the Vitality strategy. Tahm Kench was going to be the other one to mention. It is the #1 pick for Jactroll. Typically grabs it every time it's available. This time around, he won't get to play the Tahm Kench in-game.
It was first pick worthy for Jactroll last weekend when Team Vitality...
And he's shown us his skill with the Tahm Kench.
He did. The mechanics of that tongue lash, very, very good. And there's the Sion. So your top tier pick's already there. Where do Vitality go in terms of response now?
Well, we assume it's going to be the Trundle in the jungle here, even though you can technically still flex it around to top lane or down to support. Jhin coming in from Minitroupax. I know Rekkles has been spamming this pick in solo queue to have it ready, but of course with Vitality also getting the Taliyah. It feels a lot like last week, where they wanted Jiizuké on a roaming mid laner as often as possible.
Well, Jiizuké undefeated on Taliyah. He's got a KDA of 18-7-26 on that champion, and really showed great mastery last week in the quarterfinals.
Let's see if Caps want to grab his mid laner already. Either something that can match the roaming or something that can kill the Taliyah itself. It seems like that's a no for Fnatic instead. Look at his bot lane. This is like the safest kind of bot lane you can draft. Mobile AD carry and Tahm Kench to protect him. They're doing this because Vitality's strategy in the quarterfinal was get Jiizuké ahead, and then Jiizuké goes bot lane every single time. It's going to be a lot harder against Ezreal Tahm Kench.
But then don't Vitality just go, well, we'll go top lane and kill the new member and try pick on Bwipo, depending on how this plays out?
They could definitely do that. That might be what Fnatic is looking for here, because then they feel like Rekkles will get a safe laning phase, give him 2 items, and start team fighting against Vitality. It's going to be very interesting to see how the first game will go, but it's a defensive bot lane from Fnatic's side, and it's Vitality with that roaming mid laner that can be proactive in the early game.
All right, what does Caps want to run into this Taliyah? We've seen Sion mid a couple times. Would that be good into Taliyah? Would he want to play something else?
Sion to try and match the push a little bit is one way to do it, but I've seen Sion in the early game get pushed under his turret. He can try and match with Sion ultis, which is an important point to notice, as you highlighted. Kassadin has kind of been the, hey, I want to pick a champion who can kill the Taliyah, especially once you hit level 6. We have seen Caps play that in the past. There are other champions that you can just go for pure wave clear. Like, at the moment, because they have Ezreal AD carry, it's not a lot of like stalling on Fnatic's side. We have seen a ton of wave clear mid laners from Caps. And it's going to be Zoe, so I guess a little bit in between of all of it.
I'm a little surprised by the Zoe. We saw it yesterday from Perks, see it today. Was it on your radar coming into semifinals?
I feel like if you have a really, really good mechanical mid laner, you can still pick Zoe, and you can effectively take over the game if you play it well. Because she's still so obnoxious to deal with, and her very long-range poke is so tough to kind of try and avoid if you are setting up for a Baron, if you're trying to set up a siege yourself, because one guy gets hit, and then suddenly he's chunked and he's out. And Fnatic with Ezreal plus Zoe, it's a lot of long-range damage. Not a lot of like safe wave clear in this case. You need to angle the Q a little bit on Zoe to always kill the wave, but Fnatic, safe bot lane, put a lot of focus on Caps having individual outplay potential. Vitality, on the other hand, this is a very standard, stable comp for them. Oh, we get Nidalee.
Nidalee into Trundle. There was some talk about some counter picks into that Trundle, and I heard Nidalee was one of them.
Yeah, we saw Nidalee banned yesterday, actually, in the first game when it was spliced up against G2 Esports. And I feel like with Nidalee, she just doesn't really care about Trundle and his pillar whatsoever. Also, Trundle ulti is so effective against tank junglers. Doesn't really work against Nidalee, who won't build very tanky. And the last thing is, Trundle's clear in the early game is fairly slow. Like, he takes his time with the jungle camps. Nidalee, on the other hand, can be one of the faster junglers. So you can try and outpace the Trundle extremely quickly in this game, get a higher level, be more proactive on the map. I want to see how it works. It also fits in with that Zoe. Land the bubble, then a Zoe Q and a Nidalee spear flies toward you. Again, it's a ton of damage. That Braum from Jactroll always needs to be in the way.
Yeah, but there's multiple directions that this poke is going to come from.
It's a big shield, Trevor.
Zoe, Ezreal, Nidalee, and there's only one shield. Well, let's see what pressure Jactroll will be under to protect the rest of his team. And what is a fairly low mobility AD carry in Jhin. But I like the roaming options. I like the team fight power that Team Vitality have put together.
And I like Cho'Gath. For a team that really struggles with securing Baron, Cho'Gath is great. He just makes it easier, and he removes the 50-50 options that have plagued this poor Vitality lineup in the past. So I think overall Yamato Cannon will be happy when he looks at this. Tank top lane, of course, for the Cabochard.
Yes.
And Taliyah for Jiizuké. He's insane on this champion.
Let's see what Taliyah can do. Jiizuké, the rookie of the split, coming up against Caps, the developing veteran of the EU LCS. We were talking about some parallels to how last year when Caps was the rookie and Caps was proving himself. But I'll get to that story time in a moment because Deficio, all split long, Fnatic have shown some ingenious level ones.
Yeah.
They've had some unique plays. Do you think they're going to get anything here?
Well, they've had 2 weeks to prepare this one. Notice how Zoe can shoot the bubble over the wall here with a very long range. And then if someone is sitting there, they get hit. In this case, no one from Vitality sitting in the brush. Meaning now Caps had to sadly start for him with his E, which is not the greatest for his actual laning phase.
Yes.
But if you do hit someone in there, there's a high chance you get a kill.
And of course, the lane that they want to start off on is that defensive passive lane of Rekkles. Just a quick update, ladies and gentlemen. For tonight's semi-final, we're bringing you a new way to watch EU LCS. If you head over to twitch.tv/RiotGames2, you can check out our beta of the point of view stream where you can see exactly what Rekkles sees, exactly how Rekkles plays, and see exactly how Rekkles is aiming his skill shots. It's a new way to watch it, and let us know what you think. We are actively looking for feedback on that stream.
And you can still listen to the casters.
Which is, of course, the most important thing.
That's a bonus.
It's a bonus, of course. So we'll be trialing that out as the day goes on. And for now, we get back into game. No excitement yet. The level 1 didn't work out. A reminder, of course, that Bwipo is playing due to Soaz's hand injury. And that means Bwipo, in his 3rd EU LCS game ever, is in a semi-final. Something that many, many, many EU LCS players have not even accomplished.
It's a lot of pressure on a very, very new player to the Fnatic team and to the big stage here in the EU LCS. A lot of people will look at him and they will probably be ready to also throw some blame towards him if everything suddenly goes wrong for Fnatic. So
excuses at the ready.
I feel a little bit sorry for him because of the amount of pressure, but at the same time, if you can go in here and prove yourself in the semifinal against Vitality and perform at the highest level, it's a great way to make a name for yourself.
Yeah, definitely the case. And obviously Fnatic, they have had him around for a while.
He's been with them all split long. He's been in the house. He's been part of the practice. So he's not new to the team.
Yeah.
It's just he's definitely new to playing a semi-final for Fnatic on the big stage.
Well, talk to me about Gilius. No stranger to pressure, no stranger to getting in people's faces. He's already going for an invade here. We'll find Broxah. Actually didn't poke his head into the ward, so didn't quite spot him yet. Broxah is going to be rotating around and will be available to help out Bwipo if Gilius sets any plays up.
Now with Taliyah pushing in against Caps early game, it does allow Gilius to be a little bit more aggressive in the enemy jungle. He knows Taliyah can move first. If you guys look at the minimap, you can see how Jiizuké is hovering to that top side, being ready. Gilius is on a ward though, spotted by Broxah. I do like Gilius and his Trundle. I think he's shown a lot of good active moves. We saw game 1 in the quarterfinal where he just killed everyone mid, top lane. This game he's not finding the kills, but he's trying to steal away the camps.
I mean, last week the opportunities were presented, right? Gilius was able to punish H2K members thanks to very clever pathing and punishing H2K decision-making. This time round, he's getting quite cheeky. And despite the lower clear speed on Trundle, he's trying to get in Broxah's face.
But he did spend a lot of time here, not really achieving anything. Just trying to hover around. Ooh, that's a trade.
All right, Hylissang gets a Devour onto Jactroll. The Ignite is already used. That shield is not blocking anything. Arcane shift forward from Rekkles. Let's jump to the middle lane. Broxah has found Jiizuké. Gets slapped. The rookie's down.
Meanwhile, the bottom lane here, Fnatic do not get a kill, but they force 2 summoners. Heal and Flash gone. Fnatic, we just had them fighting over a Raptor camp with Broxah and Caps, and right after, we click down to the bottom lane, and Broxah suddenly kills Jiizuké.
Oh, Deficio, I remember when Nidalee was the main meta jungler. It's like shooting fish in a barrel when you get them under tower. Javelin toss after javelin toss.
What we talk about, you know, if you land a CC from a Zoe, you follow up with a spear and an all-in from Broxah. That's a lot of damage. The whole story around Vitality is always getting ahead in the early game. Snowball around the mid lane especially. Fnatic, in the first 4 minutes here, contested the jungle camps and now also found first blood against that mid laner who's supposed to get ahead. Oh, just a long-range spear, and Jiizuké didn't have vision, didn't expect it, and then you're dead.
Absolutely everything hits, and Deficio coming into this game, one of the ways that Vitality could have looked to win the game was to get that Jiizuké hit, play around his lane, activate him. And it was one of the things we talked excessively about because it's how Vitality played earlier in the split. And we'll get back to that in a moment as Jactroll takes a bit of a beating from Rekkles and Hylissang. Thanks to the grey health, Hylissang comes off, I think, looking a little better in that trade.
Yeah, Jactroll obviously in the pure all-in. It's pretty easy for the Tahm Kench to get 3 stacks on him and deal a bunch of damage. So he's forced back. Rekkles and Hylissang able to just safely push out the lane now. Overall, though, Fnatic not losing any early kills around mid lane is huge for them. They'll be the same the entire series long. Gilius is around mid again. He's on a ward, however, but he's looking for a kill.
Well, got a barrier on that Spell Thief W. Actually going to use that one immediately. Doesn't take any damage at all from that Unraveled Earth. And Jiizuké unable to find the CC that will put pressure onto Caps.
We can already see now Broxah level 5 to level 4 on Gilius. As we said before here, the Trundle tried to invade early and deny a camp. Couldn't really do a whole lot, lost most of the small Raptors anyway, and I didn't get to see if he actually picked up the big one or not. But he didn't really clear anything for himself. So Broxah just got slightly ahead already. Then Broxah gets the assist, of course, with first blood, and now he's the one invading onto Gilius. We'll see if he can land a spear on Jiizuké. Jiizuké is already low. He must have taken some poke damage.
All right, Gilius is going to find a little bit of a trade here. Very good Pillar of Ice. Now Jiizuké and Caps fighting on the right of your screen. Broxah's already flashed in the Cougar form, gets that pounce away to safety, and that's at least a summoner spell blown, but unable to get anything more. Of course, Jiizuké kept being pushed backwards. He's starting to feel the pressure because of Caps getting that early kill.
Yeah, and also we have to remember there's a Sion top lane, and we mentioned how it works really well for Cabochard and Vitality because then Sion can ult from top to mid lane, and you can set up another way to gank for Jiizuké. It's gonna work against them now because it's gonna be the Sion on Fnatic's side to react if more stuff is suddenly going wrong in mid. So there's a lot of ways for Fnatic with Sion top, Tahm Kench bot, and a fast clearing jungler to protect Caps and make sure he does not get ganked too many times.
I think it's important that we remind that to everybody because if we look at how Caps' performance was impacted the last 2 times they played Vitality, you can see in week 2 and in week 7, 3 deaths at 15 in each game, down CS 25, then 14, down 1,000 gold, down 1,700 gold. Vitality's strategy in the regular season was extremely effective in the early game.
Yeah, and they were the only team in 2018 to fully punish Caps in that mid lane by chain ganking him. Gilius just knows exactly how to do it against Caps specifically, and that's why it's so important for this matchup. And I also think Fnatic had a lot of respect for Team Vitality coming into it, because they talk a lot about how Vitality's early game is so strong, how they understand how to get the mid lane ahead, and then Jiizuké understands how to snowball the rest of the map. But if it's Fnatic putting all the attention towards mid, having all the defensive options, both top and bot lane to protect Caps, it gets difficult for Gilius to snowball his mid laner.
And is it fair to say that Broxah may have even cheated towards mid lane a little bit?
Oh, for sure.
Hanging around the camps, we've seen, at least sort of 2 presences shown by Broxah.
Definitely. We also have to remember this Trundle pick. It's a really strong 1v1 champion. I don't feel like he's the strongest ganking jungler.
Makes sense.
Like, he walks in, he puts up the pillar, which is nice CC, but any mobile champion can jump over it, or if you have flash available, you can flash out, and then you kind of survive the initial gank. This is very good 1v1. Oh, there's another one.
Oh my word! Look at that damage. Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes down. Bwipo takes down Jiizuké. Look at the player cams. Jiizuké is being focused.
It's what we talk about. The amount of tools for Fnatic to just be around mid lane all the time makes it so difficult for Jiizuké to play the game. Fnatic had 2 weeks to prepare this strategy. They had a full week after watching Vitality play 5 games to get ready for this.
Look at the bottom lane. Minitroupax and Jactroll are going to find themselves the center of a lot of attention. Here comes a Sleepy Trouble Bubble. The shield is up in a good direction. Jactroll saw that one coming at the last second. And as we approach 10 minutes, it's nearly 2,000 gold in the lead, but every skill shot lands.
Jumps in, bubble lands, now he can't get out. And you just know that 2 long-range abilities will fly into his face. And this will keep happening in this game. It's only Jactroll who can save his teammates.
Rekkles really just wants to go back and shop. He's not going to get the opportunity. Hylissang has no flash available, and this might be the first kill for Vitality. The curtains are called, and Hylissang is the man that answers. Jactroll's able to escape with his life. There's no support from anywhere else, and Vitality on the board.
Yeah, good change of focus from Vitality, realizing this mid lane is probably lost already. Bot lane now, try and get some kills for your team. Top lane, they can try and play around a Cho'Gath, but it's difficult against the tank as well. So it feels like now it's all about getting Minitroupax going.
Yeah.
Because you know Caps is going to be ahead in that mid lane matchup.
1 kill, 1 assist, already up 15 CS, already working towards his first item. And this is exactly what Fnatic wanted to do because, of course, Vitality's biggest strength was their early game.
And we now have to see, Trevor, if Jiizuké is just saying, you know what? I'm okay losing a full wave in mid if that means I can use my ulti to go to the side lane and make something happen. Because this 1v1, nope, not gonna happen. Broxah is gonna be around mid lane as often as he wants to. Sion ult is almost ready. Tahm Kench is level 6, so that's more ultis again to mid lane. I think Jiizuké is in that tough spot where he needs to probably put himself even further behind.
Yeah.
By trying to get 1 lane ahead. And it feels like it needs to be bot.
Well, let's see whether or not Minitroupax can escape a single javelin toss. Chunks 50% of his HP. Broxah has already got himself those runic echoes upgraded on his skirmishing saber. And he's chunking through what is actually a fairly squishy Vitality roster, as long as that shield is not up or Cho'Gath is around.
One of the big things, though, for Vitality is if they can now survive the next 10 minutes and not fall further behind.
Tough task.
Tough task. As we talked about earlier, the fact they have Cho'Gath around Baron can be a big thing for them. So if they feel like it's too difficult to actually play the map, you can group as 5 and try and go for Baron. The problem is, the long-range poke, especially around all these walls surrounding the Baron itself, makes it really hard to play against Zoe and Nidalee. Because when you're sitting there in the Baron pit, there's not a lot of ways for you to dodge. So it is really difficult for Vitality to then actually abuse the Cho'Gath.
Well, Curtain Call was used by Minitroupax to try and defend the tower. Jactroll gets a good unbreakable. Just a zoning pressure from Fnatic. They will get the first tower of the game. Look at the gold lead. Nearly 2,000. This will get it to around 3k if they can secure the kill. But there's support coming from Vitality. Teleports not available for the top laners. And this is going to be a brawl in the bottom lane. The tower is the focus. Glacial Fissure goes down as the tower is chucked. A drowsy, sleepy Jactroll held in place as the paddle stock flies through. Fnatic don't have any follow-up damage to speak of. And they'll gladly walk away.
First turret here for Fnatic. Jiizuké did not join the fight in the bottom lane. He stayed mid. Pushed out another wave, and he's trying to catch up in CS and experience. Still a level down compared to the Zoe. Fnatic will get first turret. Oh, trying to be mid.
All right, let's take a look. Caps is making his way forward. I'm looking for the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Gonna find it. Seismic shot land. Paddle star to the face, and Broxah flashes for the kill, sinking the fangs in.
And we should have talked about this a little bit earlier, but I just noticed Jiizuké sitting with heal and not cleanse for himself in the mid lane. One of the big things that happened to Zoe as one of the nerfs was how cleanse was a lot more useful against the bubble. He didn't pick it this time around. There's no spellbook either. So the heal in itself, it doesn't matter because he takes so much damage.
Yeah.
The fact he can't get away the moment he gets bubbled, that's what actually puts him this far behind.
Oh, I mean, Caps and Brox are just working so well
right here. The moment the bubble lands, Caps just walks in melee range. Jiizuké can't get out. And yes, you have a heal, but there is like insane amount of burst damage hitting you.
Oh, reaction shots. It's a tough start for the rookie of the split. coming up against this veteran roster, this legacy roster, but also just look at the itemization. In addition to the summoner spell problems, Jiizuké is working with an Amp Tome and some mana and cooldown reduction of Merc Treads versus a Luden's Echo, needlessly large rod. It's like fighting a tank with a pool noodle.
As I said before, Trevor, it really feels like Jiizuké's only choice is just to sacrifice his own lane and try and help the rest of the team.
Right.
Because his own damage is not relevant. He's never gonna 1v1 this Zoe. And he has to try and use the Taliyah. But this draft from Fnatic not only shut down a Taliyah mid, it completely shuts down a Trundle first pick. Because they have this jungler that can just be so quick around the map. And they have all these defensive tools like Ezreal against a pillar. That means it's hard for Gilius to gank a lot.
Minitroupax just sidesteps Bwipo's ultimate. Hylissang's now in trouble. Flash is available too, gets caught by the seismic shove. Decides to hold that summoner spell. Probably the right call, but Vitality get their second kill.
All right, it's good for Vitality, at least they're getting some kills for themselves. Twice they've now shut down Hylissang. Still behind 2.5k gold. They get the Rift Hill from earlier when Fnatic were playing on the bottom side. We'll place it mid. But I think this mini-wave will die before Rift Hill even gets close to the turret. We'll get a charge off, and now they're grouping as 5.
All right, good burst of damage. It's a 5-man stack in the mid lane. Teleport's coming down from Bwipo as the Rift Herald is being shut down. And what sort of follow-up can Fnatic put together, if any? It doesn't look like they're going for a proactive play. Rekkles, he shoved in the top lane, and he was making his way down the river in case anything happens.
See around mid, Cap's missing this one. Jiizuké's left alone.
Jiizuké chasing the loss. Where is your team? Completely run down, completely lacking support. 0-4.
It's been hard for Vitality to get vision on both sides of mid. So it always feels like there's an entrance for Fnatic.
Yep.
This one was bottom side. And Hylissang flashing forward. Getting that first little slowdown. Fnatic now gets to push back. Meanwhile, the rest of Vitality trying to push out the top lane. No one is bought at the moment, and it's 4v5.
All right, let's see what defense can happen. Of course, reminder, Vitality, they played that Trundle jungle last week. Gilius had a couple games under his belt. We saw Xerxes playing it as well. And the reason I'm reminding everybody of that, the discussion around Trundle jungle. How do you play? How do you stop it? Fnatic very clearly had some prep, and they've pulled it off flawlessly in the opening game of this best of 5.
Yeah, a lot of it is just play around the Trundle, don't play into the Trundle.
Yes.
You don't have to try and fight him 1v1, that's why he's really good in the early game. Instead, you just run to the lanes.
Yeah.
Or you get to kill the camps faster than he does, and he can't keep up. Like, Gilius is trying his best to actually match the kind of pressure being applied, but it is so hard for him to do. Top lane right now.
All right, let's see. That's... Whoa!
Yeah, he's very fed, by the way.
That is the definition of deleted, if ever I've seen one. Hylissang will get a second. As now Bwipo's looking for a little bit more. Jiizuké's running for his life. Got flash available, as well as the Weaver's Wall. That will allow him to escape. But Summoner Spell and Ultimate used. Fnatic 6 kills to 2. This is looking like a Goomba Stomp from the fan favorites. And what a great confidence start to the semifinals.
All the players who were discussing this game, all the people I've seen discuss this as well, like analysts, coaches, always talk about Vitality win early game, will then struggle around the Barons, but if they can secure it, they can win the games. Fnatic in game 1 are 5k gold ahead at 17 minutes. It's not Caps getting shut down mid, it's Jiizuké getting shut down, so this goes against everything that was supposed to happen for Vitality to actually play their style. They might have to adjust now. Maybe the priority on certain picks. The first pick, Trundle, got punished pretty hard in this pick and ban phase, and now we just see the play where it's Caps showing up.
Ooh. That's just one rotation.
It is.
E-auto Q, goodbye.
Yeah.
But what I love is that Hylissang saved Caps from an attempted gank in the mid lane, managed to get him to safety, turn that kill around.
It's also worth noting that this Zoe will have a Death Cap and a Luden's Echo, probably before 20 minutes.
That is so tough.
Yeah, that's when you know things are pretty hard to deal with.
Now this is where you look at the Vitality squad and you say, right, let's see how they play from behind. Let's see what sort of comeback mechanics they have, because it is a very big hole. And I think more importantly, how you adapt in a best of 5. This was a first pick Trundle. You can change your draft, you get side selection in the next game, and at some point, you start evaluating that. But for now, they're still playing from a big hole and still trying to save this game.
Sadly for Vitality in their draft, despite everything that's going wrong. They don't even have the better mid-game champions because they're against an Ezreal on one side and then a Nidalee jungle who's also very strong here in the mid-game. There's 2 items on Rekkles, so it feels like Vitality almost have to try and wait longer before they do anything. This build from Jhin typically wants 3 items, you know, Essence Reaver, a Zeal item, then Eye-Edge before you really start hitting like a truck. And then a lot of what they want to do, if this was an even game, is kill the front line first, kill the Sion every time. Because you have a Feast from Cabochard, Trundle ulti to again make this champion less tanky, and then Jiizuké and Minitroupax just kind of focusing down a single target on their own. But when you're this far behind, you're probably never going to get these longer fights where you can kill the tank first, because it's just constant poke damage landing from 3 different angles. And each one of them will almost kill you.
And of course, Vitality, they just can't even defend their objectives. There's 7,000 gold deficit. They can't even find those team fights to try and force the opposition. Stoppable Onslaught comes down from Bwipo. Some tower damage onto Hylissang as he gets the Devour out, spits Cabo back out. Now the Feast is available as here comes Jiizuké. Jiizuké not going to be able to do a lot more as the Feast secures the first kill of the fight. That's Vitality picking up. Is this where Vitality bounce back? Bwipo's going to flash to safety. There's no support though as Minitroupax gets the kill. While all that's going on, Caps and Broxah are pushing the top tower. But kills and gold for Vitality is important.
Yeah, when you're this far down, you just got to hope that the enemy team overextends and you maybe get a chance to catch them out. And that's what happened right here. Fnatic, they went all in with 3 members to try and kill Cabochard in the bot lane. Unsuccessful after going down with. So it's Hylissang ulting down with the Tahm Kench. There's no one pushing top just yet. So it's 3 members fighting bot side and 2 members from Fnatic currently not doing anything. And that means all of Vitality can call run bot lane. It's 5v3, take the fight, and they do. Cabochard buys enough time for the team. Gilius shows up with the blast cone, and that's so important for this Vitality team because they're so far down. They need more of these fights, a lot of them.
Deficio, they got 2 towers as well. Now, while Cabochard will donate yet another kill to Caps, who has his death cap and Sork shoes completed, Vitality, that gold lead that was 7,500 is now 4,500. There's some more map presence available. There's a couple more items being picked up. I mean, Baron of Command picked up by Cabochard as well. It's going to be very difficult for Fnatic to deal with that Baron powered minion. Take a long time to eventually kill it down. I'm looking for the silver linings here, Deficio. I'm looking for the silver linings.
I don't think the Fnatic comms at the moment are like, guys, the Band of Command, I don't know what to do against this.
I'm thinking ahead, damn it. Thinking of some of the options. Either way.
They got one on their side as well, and they will get this bot lane turret for themselves. Currently, Fnatic can just play around Caps as much as possible. He's almost on 400 AP at 21 minutes.
Man, that is terrifying. Rod of Ages is stacking for Broxah. Oh, by the way, the drop down there. Fnatic with the gold lead at 20 minutes on 9 wins and 1 loss in 2018. They're very good at closing games, as you would expect for the #1 team from the regular season.
But if Vitality, if they manage to get back, what a blow that would be to Fnatic, their confidence in this series. It is very unlikely at this point because Fnatic are so far ahead and have executed the early game so well. But this Vitality team here, they're hoping Fnatic overextends in the side lane again. They're hoping Fnatic maybe face checks around the Baron and instantly Cho'Gath Feast secures a kill.
You just mentioned Baron. We saw Gilius in the Baron pit, and I'm not going to add that one yet. It's too early. But Minitroupax had an interesting tweet earlier. Amongst a few other things, he said, we've developed a new style of playing the game. You can't lose Baron Nashor if you don't go for it. Now, this specific quote won't be true because I think he might need Baron this game. Sneak that one away. We'll continue that thought in a moment as Fnatic will not allow Vitality any sort of control. If you look at the vision on the minimap, Fnatic have got pressure, they've got pushing waves, they've got deep vision, and Fnatic can peel back to that objective.
They will always get control of the Baron area itself with the amount of poke they have. They're going to start it. All of Vitality around the mid lane.
Oh, this is going to be easily secured. Of course, we saw the numbers there. Vitality have had 50% of Baron control this split. A number of them have been stolen. They won't be able to get into the pit to contest. Vitality splits up on the side with Fnatic. They can't find the fight. Vitality have already taken one down. Caps takes a lot of damage as Hylissang is forced to flash over the wall. And from beyond the grave, Bwipo's putting damage down, but it ends up costing their top laner's life for Baron on 4.
One kill here for Vitality. trying to push mid again, a bit more gold, but losing this Baron here probably means they're going to lose most of their base with it as well. As we highlighted much earlier, the siege from Fnatic's long-range poke, Ezreal, Zoe, Nidalee, it's amazing. So Vitality are hoping to find a team fight. Let's see if there's anything they can use. TP from Cabochard to appear behind Fnatic. Jiizuké wall to stop them from getting away from a turret might be an option. This is obviously just Fnatic rushing down the Baron and using Sion ult very well to stop Gilius from potentially getting into the Baron pit. And yes, they do lose the one tank, but Fnatic will be happy with this one. And now we just gotta see creative Vitality. One of the things teams praised them a lot for during the split was how they found different ways to surprise you, get back in the games. You normally don't get back if you are this far down in items and gold, but if they can surprise Fnatic, we can try and look for it. I think you need that TP behind with Cabochard, and you need Jiizuké to wall off, split up Fnatic when they're trying to siege on a turret. Otherwise, you just get poked down and die.
They'll need a lot of time to look for those opportunities to fish out. It's only 25 minutes in.
Cabochard's TPing behind them now.
There's the TP shot you talked about. Cabo's the one Fed member on the team, and Hylissang seems to be the target over and over again. Broxah's coming in from the wings. Hylissang's buying a lot of time for support to make its way. Bwipo and Caps coming in from the sides. Caps has already taken down Minitroupax, and he's on a rampage. Now Bwipo zoning away through with the help of Caps as Rekkles and Broxah clean up the back end. So far it's a 1 for 2. That's a 1 for 3. Caps has got the aimbot on today, and his paddle stars giving Vitality a paddling.
Vitality, they tried, man. They TP'd in behind, hoped they could get a few kills, but Fnatic are so far ahead in this game, and especially that Zoe in the mid lane. Just taken over completely, and they got a ton of minions bot lane. They're going straight for a Nexus. We're not even at 30 minutes.
Fnatic have come into this game with their eyes on the prize. A shot at the finals and a shot at the title. And it all starts with taking down Vitality. A crushing defeat for the rookie class of 2018. Fnatic strike first in the semi-final.
The simple game plan of let's camp Caps in the mid lane got completely shut down. 1 in the draft and 2 in the first 5 minutes of the game. It was Broxah around mid lane. It was Caps who secured first blood for himself. They kept ganking Jiizuké over and over. The blue side first pick Trundle did not do Vitality any favors when it came to try and snowball around the mid lane. And in the end, I think we're going to see a lot of changes. First of all, Vitality will be red side next game. I can almost guarantee it.
Of course, they have side selection.
They have side selection. They always pick red side when they can. And this might change up a little bit because they can try and get a potential counter pick for Jiizuké. They could try and get maybe a jungler.
What I love,
they don't have to first pick
what I love, right? Fnatic come in, they clearly have an understanding of what options Vitality can play. So Vitality play their card, first pick Trundle. Fnatic say, we've got the rock, paper, scissors to beat you. Now, whatever card Vitality plays in the next game, what answer does Fnatic have, if any? And that's where this discussion comes in, because while Vitality have to make changes, can they anticipate Fnatic's changes to those changes?
And this game obviously looks insanely one-sided, simply because Fnatic got so many kills early around Zoe. And Zoe, despite all the nerfs that happened to her, now she got buffed a little bit. When she gets ahead, she's still fantastic at snowballing games, and we have seen Caps now execute it perfectly. So this game obviously snowballs out of control.
Yes.
There's technically no way back for Vitality, and that's why they lose so quickly. Next game needs to be different for this team. If they can make it a 1-1, bam, we got a series, potentially 5 games. If they go down 2-0 very quickly, it gets really tough.
Momentum, emotions. We've also seen Vitality go on those big swings where they won a whole bunch of games in a row, then they lost a whole bunch of games in a row. For a rookie team to have such a heavy-handed defeat, you have to ask the question about mindset and mentality. It is a semi-final. It is a spot for the trophy, a shot at MSI here in Berlin, in our home studio. And all of those questions start to creep in at some point.
It's tough when the first game suddenly falls apart.
Yes.
You've had a week to get ready for this one if you're Vitality. You had a plan drafted up.
The thing is as well, it is important to note that a lot of the pro players understand that Vitality still have chances. They just have to find a way for their game plan to work. Yesterday, if you listen to PGL, the way Perks and Jankos were talking and then convinced you to talk. You might even think Vitality were the favorites coming in today because
yeah, it almost felt like it.
There are weaknesses in Fnatic's play, but it's crucial to actually activate them, to actually find them in your gameplay.
And important also for Fnatic in this first game was they didn't need the top laner to do a whole lot. That was a pretty easy first semi-final game for the side lanes. It was all around mid.
Yes.
And the moment they got ahead there, they could use that to snowball the rest of the game. So they showed they understand how Vitality wants to play. They shut it down and pick ban phase and in-game. And I think Fnatic are just going to be super happy with the first game, of course. What a dumb statement.
How could you not be?
There you go, guys. That's why I get paid for this.
This is why you are no longer the superior analyst, friend. And that's why you've been dethroned. Fnatic picked up a win to start the series. Let's check in with the superior analyst, as well as Sjokz and Maurice.
Well, yes, and he also pegged the 3-0 for Fnatic, so he could be the absolute king today, Vedius, but he's not who we're talking about. We are talking about the maybe kings to be after that game one. It's looking positive for Fnatic. I was definitely surprised at the way they came out of the gates swinging, and especially Caps' performance over Jiizuké and how they just managed to get the advantage through the early game. What went so well for Fnatic that they were able to get Caps so far ahead?
For me, it was very much that they came in with a game plan of, right, we know that they love to camp middle lane. We know that typically that is where Vitality get their advantages. Let us deny that by picking ourselves a strong mid-jungle duo. They get a Zoe and a Nidalee, and they just go to town.
Yes.
I don't think they anticipated the Nidalee counter pick at all whatsoever, because like you have the first pick Trundle coming in, you basically open yourself up to potential counters. Like I think Elise works into it too. So you can't win the 2v2 mid lane. You have no influence on any kind of lane. So for you, you basically lost in pick ban at that point already.
Alrighty, well, let's take a look at a couple of those early game replays and look exactly at how that played out. Also, third time that Caps plays Zoe. Zoe is not particularly the highest picked champion, but he absolutely destroys Jiizuké.
Yeah, we got to see it yesterday from Perks as well, and it just shows that when you give a mechanically powerful individual a mechanically intensive champion, he can be pretty good. And I love the way in which not only did we see a lot of ganks from Broxah in the middle lane, but the roams from Bwipo as well. He recognized that, hey, I can't do much in the top lane. I want to get involved in my team. Let's set up the superstar mid to succeed. And that's exactly what they did.
I don't think that Vitality has ever been in the situation where Jiizuké is actually the one being targeted first. I think they've always come away with the fact that they had the early pick on mid lane and then snowballed out of it. So them actually being surprised by 2 counter picks in total, actually, because the Nidalee and the Zoe technically are counter picks, then it is something they have to really, really think about. I did think that the comp overall was going to work well in team fights later on. I think that is a solid comp, and they could have had a lot of engages. But I don't like a blind pick Trundle. We've seen it in the Splice series. It doesn't work.
Well, that's the TLDR of yesterday. It doesn't work. Let's take a look at the rest of the draft and orientate ourselves as where we ended up in the game after that strong early game from Fnatic. Vitality were in a deficit. They had to fight back, but it doesn't look like they had the easiest, rather, toolbox to do that with this comp.
I feel like, yeah, because the thing is they haven't drafted themselves any real strong laners aside from the top lane where they have the Cho'Gath into the Sion, and that's kind of uncharacteristic of what we see from Vitality, and it kind of ties back into our discussion that we had early on, which was very much around Vitality like to draft winning early game, they get early leads, and then they snowball based on the early advantages that they have. But with the draft that they've gotten, you can see that, I mean, Ezreal hits a really big power spike in the mid game. You've got a Zoe Nidalee duo that has a really strong early game, and Sion, due to his roams, can have a really big impact in the early game as well. So Fnatic just said, we're going early game, we don't care what you do, we're going to match you in the early game, and then we're going to beat you at it, and they did just that.
And in terms, amazing, of kind of the mental play in picks and bans and in the early game, I think this is the most difficult hand you can deal Vitality in a first game. As you say, the 2 counter picks and the combination of an explosive early game, which puts them in a position which they can't come back from, must be a huge mental blow.
Yeah, and the scary part about this is whether or not like Vitality actually, you know, let's say when you're a new team or like an up-and-coming team, you usually try to win the first game, like no matter what, because the veteran team is usually gonna lay back and just gonna sit back and see whatever happens, and then gonna adapt over the course of the series. So I'm afraid they may actually have already shown a lot of cards. So if that's the best they can give, it doesn't...
Well, I mean, it was an impressive win, but we are going a bit far. We still have possibly 4 games left to be played, but let's take a look at how Fnatic closed this game out, because the mid game wasn't exactly as clean as the early game was from Fnatic. They were floundering a bit, but here they grab Baron and they end the game off the fight after
So
that.
the important thing to note here is that Fnatic have priority pretty much everywhere. They have good vision around the top side of Vitality's jungle, and they realize that they can force this and do it extremely quickly because they have mid-game Ezreal. They also have a Nidalee too, who's really fed. And Bwipo does a good job of recognizing all I have to do is stall. I give up my life. Yes, that kind of sucks, but I get my team the Baron. And it's just so impressive how quickly Fnatic used that Baron. And I think that was like a 24, 25-minute win just off the back of a Baron. Just very good use of the advantages that they get.
Fantastic turnaround, and once again, fantastic first game from Caps. He was crushing it on that Zoe, killing people left, right, and center. But now Vitality, they have to refocus. They have to find their balance going into game 2. What is the steps forward? Not a Trundle first pick anymore, I think. That's what we want to hear. What we want to see, rather. But what other options do they have?
So yesterday we saw basically the blind pick Swain dominating the pick ban. I think today the Swain's not going to be in the games, and I think the counter picks on both mid lane and jungle are going to be the deciding factor, and I think that's what they're going to go for. They're going to basically copy whatever Fnatic is doing and reverse it.
I have to agree with Amazing. I think that the main goal here for Vitality is to get Jiizuké the counter pick, get him on something that he can handle Caps with, and see what they can do in the jungle.
That mid lane matchup proving to be very, very important. We will see what happens between Caps and Jiizuké as we continue. Fnatic, though, hot out of the gate with a 1-0 lead. Vitality will have a chance to strike back in game 2 when we return.
See what Taliyah can do. Jiizuké, the rookie of the split, coming up against the Caps.
Favorite one we want. Oh
my word! Look at that damage. Sleepy Trouble Bubble comes down. Bwipo takes down Jiizuké. Is making his way forward, looking for the Sleepy Trouble Bubble. Gonna find it. Seismic Shadow and Paddle Star to the face, and Broxah flashes for the kill.
What do you need us to do, Jiizuké?
I need vision. I'm blind. He's already taken down Minitroupax and he's on a rampage. Now Bwipo zoning away through with the help of Caps as Rekkles and Broxah clean up the back end. So far it's a 1 for 2. That's a 1 for 3. A shot at the finals and a shot at the title. And it all started taking down Vitality. A crushing defeat for the rookie class of 2018. Fnatic strike first in the semi-final.